Hello, everybody. Alrighty then. Okay. So, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Mikestand. Um, Tonight is Tuesday, December the 5th, 2023. Um, we're gonna, of course, give it a few minutes to give people a chance um, to come in before we get started. Tonight, of course, as always, one, if you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream and seeing if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage, that would be appreciated. Also, if anything here we talk about grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. It's a favorite time of the year. Holiday cheer. The world is believing that mistletoe feeling. It's our favorite time of the year. Let's see. Santa Claus is coming to town. Anyways, let's see. We're at 2 minutes now. Tonight, as I said, we're just waiting for some more people to show up. See if anybody else shows up. Tonight, of course, we're going to have a very special episode of the mic stand, and I'll get into that in about another 30 seconds or so. As soon as we get up to the 3 minute mark here. All right, so let's see now. And we're at 3 minutes now. Okay, so as I couldn't really find much in the way of news tonight, of course, we will have the wrestling wrap up, a little later on, as well as this game each history. But as there wasn't much going on, as of course we are down kind of the towards the end of the year here, tonight we're doing a very special episode. We'll be looking back on the voice acting career of Hal Smith. Now, I know a lot of you are going to be asking me, well, who's Hal Smith? Hal Smith was an actor, voice actor. Probably his most famous roles, of course, he portrayed Santa Claus in some of the Hanna-Barbera Christmas specials, like Yogi's First Christmas, Flintstones Christmas, and Casper's First Christmas. He also, of course, as I understand it, in later years, he also did the voice, I believe, of Pooh and Hal, Winnie the Pooh and Hal for Welcome to Pooh Corner and all that. And he was also the voice of Avery Whitaker in the Christian radio drama from Focus on the Family of Adventures in Odyssey. So tonight, as I said, we're going to focus in on and just look back at his career, look back at the man. I'm going to talk about some of the roles he did, of course. And as always, guys, as I've said before, if anything we talk about, hey Woody, if anything I talk about grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. Also, if you haven't already, if you can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people to engage. That would be terrific. So with that, why don't we go ahead and let's get ready to get started. Let's see. My ex-wife used to work for Dobson. Okay. Yeah. All right. I don't know who Dobson is, but or what Dobson is, but anyways, why don't we Colorado Springs, baby? All right. All right. With that, why don't we go ahead and let me go ahead and get that all. Hang on, Hal Smith here. And I did see you just put another comment up, Woody. So let's take a look at what you just said there. Um, and the guy I used to sing with in the choir there became one of the main voices they used on that channel. One of the news voices, I can't think of his name. All right. Well, if you're trying to indicate he might have been Hal Smith, that might be I don't that's possible. But anyway, so let's talk about this individual here. Hal Smith, actor. Harold John Smith, born August 24th, 1916, died January 28th, 1994. So I believe he was 77 when he passed away. Was an American actor. He is credited in over 300 film and television productions and was best known for his role as Otis Campbell, the town drunk on CBS's The Andy Griffin Show, and for voicing Al and Winnie the Pooh, replacing Sterling Holloway in the first four original Winnie the Pooh shorts, the first three of which were combined into the feature film The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, and later Winnie the Pooh Discovers the Seasons, Winnie the Pooh and A Day for Eeyore, and in television series Welcome to Pooh Corner and The New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. He also did a cameo in The Apartment as a drunken Santa Claus. All right, so I'm not, as I said, I'm not going to go over the entire thing here. Just want to focus. That was just the introduction. I just wanted to focus on his voice acting career. Focus on the Family was founded by a named. Okay. I get what you're saying. Okay, yeah, you're right. Jim Dobson. James Dobson was the guy who founded Focus on the Family. So Otid, yeah, Otis, yeah. So, anyways, um, all right. So, looking at Smith's voice acting career, Smith also worked extensively as a voice actor in animated film and television series. His voice credit was as Pepe, a boxing rooster, in Walter Lance's cartoon The Bongo Punch in 1957. Yeah. And just after that, okay, well, let's see, 1957, of course, Walter Lance, known for Woody Woodpecker. Let's see, beginning in the late 1950s, which with such shows as The Huckleberry Hound Show and Quick Draw McGraw, Smith became one of the most prolific voice actors in Hollywood, eventually working with most of the major studios and production companies, such as Hanna-Barbera, Walt Disney, Warner Brothers, the Mish Corporation. The Mish Corporation, of course, that was the one that that produced a lot of, in conjunction with DePatie Frayling Enterprises, the Pink Panther cartoons. And Sid and Marty Krofft, of course, that was more the live action one. Sid and Marty Krofft stuff was like the Bugaloos, Lidsville, Land of the Lost, Sigmund and the Sea Monster, um, with voice roles on such series as The Flintstones, in which he mostly did the voices of Texas millionaires such as Fred's Uncle Tex. Also, as I mentioned earlier, he was Santa Claus in The Flintstones Christmas as well. Let's see. Pink Panther, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, Mickey Mouse, Yogi Bear, and Looney Tunes. And also around the same time, in the late 50s as well, he lent his voice to the syndicated animated series Clutch Cargo as well, providing supporting voice work for those shows, as I've been discovering. Um, Basically, starring opposite of um, Richard Cotting, who did the voice of Clutch Cargo, the title character, and Margaret Carey, who did the voices of Spinner and Paddlefoot. Um, so must be his 107th birth. Well, it would be if he was still alive, Woody. If Hal Smith was still alive, yes, it would probably. You're right. It would be his 100. Well, would his 107th birthday would have passed, but he passed away back in 1994. Um, but since again I couldn't find much to report on or go over tonight. Anyways, I decided to do this guy because I was thinking, okay, we're in Christmas season now, and of course I remember how my most favorite role of his, of course, is the Santa Claus roles he would do for the Hanna-Barbera cartoons, particularly Yogi's First Christmas. So that's where I know him. Everyone loved Otis. He's part of the reason I became a drunk. All right. Anyways. All right. So getting back to, um, so moving ahead then, in 1962, he voiced Taurus, the Scots accented mechanic of the spaceship Starduster, for the series Space Angel. Um, According to the book Space Patrol: Missions of Daring in the Name of Early Television, quote, it's rumored that Gene Roddenberry was a huge fan of the show and patterned Star Trek's engineer, Mr. Scott, after McCloud's Scottish sidekick Taurus, unquote. He also did voices for the Hong Kong Phooey series. In 1977, he was the voice of Grandpa Josiah in the cartoon special Halloween His Grinch Night. That same year, he began voicing the Disney character Winnie the Pooh, replacing Sterling Holloway, who had provided the voice for the character for many years, beginning with the Disney read-along adaptation of Winnie the Pooh and Tigger 2. He was also very active with doing voices in 1980s. He was Sludge in The Smurfs, Goofy in Mickey's Christmas Carol, um, in Disney's DuckTales. He did the voices of Scrooge McDuck's rival, Flintheart Glonggold, and the absent-minded scientist Gyro Gearless. Wow, I didn't even remember that. And in Frog and Toad Are Friends, and Frog and Toad Together, he also did the voice of Toad. It just goes to show you when you look back and you see some of this stuff and you realize, oh, he did that or he did that. Wow, it's like that is kind of amazing. Um, all right. So, anyways, continuing on here. Smith also voiced the Disney cartoon character Goofy after Pinto Colvig died in 1967, and it's funny because Pinto Colvig, not only did he do Goofy, but Pinto Colvig also did Bluto. There's an in between William Pennell and Gus Wiki, so back there in the 30s. So, and would voice him up until Mickey's Christmas Carol in 1983. Additionally, he provided the voice of Al in the two original Winnie the Pooh featurettes, Winnie the Pooh and the Honey Tree, Winnie the Pooh and the Blustery Day, and the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh in 1977. In the 1960s, he was one of the most sought-after voice actors in Hollywood. From 1959 till 1975, he provided the voices of Goliath, Davy's dad, and many other characters in Davy and Goliath. For those of you who don't know, Davy and Goliath was a Christian claymation show. I know for many years, I know that even TBN had picked it up. TBN and CBN picked it up for a while there. Yeah, but he was, and that one came about in the 60s. Let's see, as we continue. From 1960 to 1961, he was the voice of Elmer Fudd after Arthur Q. O'Brien died. Arthur Q. O'Brien, of course, had been the longtime voice of Elmer Fudd. But I didn't know that he provided Elmer's voice in the early 60s there. In 1963, he voiced Dr. Todd Goodhart, Belly Laguna, and Dr. Von Up in the Funny Company cartoon series. From 1964 to 1966, he was the voice of Yappy in the Hanna-Barbera cartoon shorts Yippee, Yappy, and Yahooey. He was also the voice of Cosgood Creeps, Asa Shanks, the farmer, and Mr. Greenway on Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? And I think I did see his credit on a few of those shows as well. Again, he was pretty, as we're looking at this, he seems to have been pretty prolific, in terms of, especially for Hanna-Barbera. As I said, I knew him from his roles as Santa Claus in like A Flintstones Christmas, Castler's First Christmas, and of course my all-time favorite Christmas special, Yogi's First Christmas. So, as I said, if you haven't already, if you can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. Also, if anything here catches your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So, anyways, let's see. Continuing on here. In 1981, he reprised his role as Al and Winnie the Pooh in the short Winnie the Pooh Discovers the Seasons. He then voiced the two characters in Winnie the Pooh and A Day for Eeyore in 1983, as well as Disney Channel's television series Welcome to Pooh Corner. On the television series The New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh in 1988, Jim Cummings took over as Pooh, while Smith continued playing out Winnie the Pooh Bear, I gotta be there. Me and you, it's always Winnie the Pooh Bear, I gotta be there. Me and you, silly old Winnie the Pooh. That was the song. That was, I think, the opening theme from The New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh in 1988. There, the two voice actors sometimes rotated the voice of Winnie the Pooh. In 1991, Smith provided the voice of Philippe the horse in the Disney film Beauty and the Beast before his death in 1994. In 1985, Hal voiced Norman Harper, a sick father of wife Jennifer Walters, um, voiced by DJ Hammer, in a radio drama entitled House Guest. Jennifer Walters, huh? It aired on. Okay, so probably not the same Jennifer Walters most of us would think of. It aired on Focus on the Family daily broadcast on November 23rd, the day before Thanksgiving of that year. He went on to voice roles for other Focus audio presentations, and starting in 1987, Smith was the voice of the main character, John Avery Whitaker, on Focus on the Family's longest-running radio drama, Adventures in Odyssey, which debuted that year. He was responsible for much of the cast joining the show after he signed, including Katie Lee. I believe, in fact, Katie Lee is known for her work in Totally Spies. Will Ryan, who I know provided the voices of Footloose and Rock and Roll and G.I. Joe. Walker Edmondson, another familiar voice to most people. He did some voice work for Sid and Marty Krofft. He was also Inferno in the Transformers G1 cartoon, as well as providing the voice of the Wizard in Spider-Man the Animated Series. Earl Bowen, who of course was Simon Stagg in the Justice League episode Metamorpho, as well as or Metamorphosis, as well as the Red Skull and Spider-Man, the Spider-Man the Animated Series, and Dave Madden, and others. And he continued recording episodes until a few weeks before his death, even while his health deteriorated. In an Andy Griffin fan interview published after he died, Smith said that Adventures in Odyssey was one of the most gratifying things he had done in his life. Additionally, he voiced dozens of other characters during the 253 episodes in which he participated. His role as of Wit was later filled by Paul Herrlinger in 1996, and then Andrei Skochka in 2009 after his death. Now, if you guys have listened to cartoons enough over the years, you guys, I think, would know Hal Smith's voice. If you heard some of the things that we talked about, or watched some of those cartoons, and you would know his voice. He had a pretty, and many of the characters he would do would just be slight adjustments, variations on his voice. So, anyways, as we continue on here. So he voiced Joe McGee in The Old Man and the Sea Duck episode of Tailspin. Okay. Smith was also very active working in television commercials. As various characters, he provided on-screen promotion for Three Musketeers, United Van Lines, Hickory Farms, Toyota, Green Giant, General Mills, Mattel, Kellogg's, Pizza Hut, Chicken of the Sea, Ivory Soap, Dr. Ross Dog Food, Pioneer Chicken, Bell Telephone Company, Coca-Cola, Chef Boyardee, and hundreds of other advertising sponsors. All right, so that's pretty much. And I guess I'll go over his voice roles pretty quick here. Among his, of course, voice roles, including 1957's The Bongo Punch, or he was Pepe Chiquito and the ring announcer in the Walter Lantz theatrical short. He of course provided the voice, as they said, of Elmer Fudd in between 60 and 61. He was Corn Pone and Moose, and Hey There, Yogi Bear. Also, again, many of these things. He was, and he was even Santa and the Three Bears of 1970. Uncle Hal, as well as Santa and Mr. Ranger. So yeah, again, I think he's one of those guys that, if you think of Santa Claus's voice, if you grew up in the 70s and 80s, right? At some point, you will have to think of him right up there as one of the guys who provided the voice of Santa Claus. You know, yeah, fantastic. Master Shin, English dub of Fantastic. Wow, he was even in the English dub of Fantastic Planet. Wow. Many adventures of some of the special Mickey's Christmas. So Disney used him quite a bit. He even picked up some stuff for English dubs as well. He was in Here Come the Littles as Uncle Augustus. Let's see what these are. Of course, movies. His movie credits. Let's see. Among his television credits, of course, I even though they don't list it here. He was also he also did a number of supporting voices for the Clutch Cargo syndicated series. Came out in '59, but he was in 5 episodes of Huckleberry Hound Show, 9 for Quick Draw McGraw. He provided additional voices, and of course, in the Bugs Bunny Show, as well as Rocky and Friends, which was, of course, from, I think, Rocky and Friends was done by, I can't remember I don't know if that was Jay Ward or not. That might have been Jay Ward Enterprises. Let's see. Of course, he was in Davy and Goliath in 60s and 70s. Goliath. For those of you, for those who may have watched that, Davy and Goliath, the Christian claymation series. Goliath was the dog in that series. So, John Hanson, Pastor Miller, Jonathan Reed. Let's see. He was Uncle Tex and Santa Claus in the Flintstones, 60 to 65. Again, provided additional voices for the Yogi Bear Show, Bullwinkle, the Jetsons, Space Angel. He had a few notable characters. McGillicuddy. He was a stalwart of the he was a stalwart in for Hanna-Barbara. That much is. He was even in the famous adventures of Mr. Magoo, Yappy and the King, and Yippee Yappy and Yahooey. Then the new Three Stooges, Roadrunner Show, Laurel and Hardy cartoon. Frankenstein. He was Coil Man in Frankenstein Jr. and the Impossibles. So he was Crickle, Dr. Zwiggy, Richman, and Gumby. He lent his voice, of course, to New Adventures of Huckleberry Finn and the Bugs Bunny Roadrunner Hour, of course. As we've seen earlier in this article, taking over the role of Elmer Fudd in the '60s, in the '60s and all that. After the passing of Arthur Q. O'Brien, voices in the Pink Panther show. Had a number. He was in 25 episodes of Scooby Doo. Where Are You? 1970. He was 10 episodes of in Walt Disney's Wonderful World of Color. Um, he provided additional voices for more Hanna-Barbera produced stuff, including Help It's a Hair Bear Bunch. Um, he was in A Christmas Story TV special, Wait Till Your Father Gets Home. Of course, he was also brought in to do some voices for the ABC Saturday Superstar Showcase. Um, of course, that the Superstar Saturday Superstar movie, as it were, those were designed initially to be set up for pilots, you know, pilots for shows they were thinking of doing. So he was in Yogi's Gang, The Roman Holidays. He was in the ABC After School specials, including Uncle Carl and The Incredible Magnetical Physical Mystery Trip, and Professor LaLoosh in Michael's Mixed Up Musical Bird. He provided voices for Hong Kong Phooey. He was the narrator in the Hoover Blue Highway. Um, he was various characters in the Pink Panther Laugh and a Half Hour and a Half show. Again, Santa Claus in A Flintstone Christmas. Let's see. So yeah, you can see he had a number of um, and then a number of things here. Mm-hmm. He was brought in for a Scooby Doo show. He voiced Dr. Hunkoff in 16 episodes of a Plastic Man comedy adventure show, Santa Claus and Casper's First Christmas, Otto the Chef and Santa Claus in Yogi's First Christmas. Um, so he was McGillicuddy in Pontifer Pock, Where Are You? Um, he was Colonel Crumb in 3 episodes of the All New Popeye Hour. Um, and his voice in Richie Rich. He was J. Wellington Jones, among other Sergeant and Zookeeper and Yogi Bear's All Star Comedy Christmas Caper in the I guess the animated show or oh actually that was he was Trumbull and he was only 12 part. That was a live action show though, but that was a live action show though. Voice, huh? 17 episodes of the Smurfs. He lent his voice to the Christmas at Pooh and Al. There's a lot of these. He was in Garfield and the Rough and these Scooby Doo Mysteries. Um, actually, provided the voices of Yogi Bear and Dino and Strong Kids, Safe Kids, the video documentary short. I believe this is a short they put out in 1984 as part of their The More You Know series documentary on like kid safety. Stuff like don't talk to strangers. Your body is yours. Nobody has. That kind of thing. Um, okay, so they're doing all of his TV. Even though these are, but I guess he did some voices in there. Gyro Gearloose and Flunar Gongold and Ducktales, of course. Um, Actually, in Sesame Street, he was Elephant, Bear, and Ant in episodes 18.9 and hmm, hmm I guess he in some of the episodes he played the adult versions of Huey, Dewey, and Louie. He actually provided the voice of Mr. Wilson and John Muir in This Is America, Charlie Brown. He was No Gum and Abbott Costello and Adventures of Gummy Bears. And yeah, just a lot of Blabbermouth and Yo Yogi for 9 episodes. When he was Santa Claus again in both the town. See, even later, even like 13 years after he last did Santa Claus, they brought him two cartoons brought him back to be the TV special Town Santa Forgot brought him back to do Santa Claus, and then Bonkers brought him back to be Santa Claus. So, and then his radio work, of course, Adventures in Odyssey, um, Family Porters Adventures, Odyssey pilot series, John Avery Whitaker, and then he did, of course, a couple of Focus on the Family daily broadcast house guests, and so yeah. So, anyways, but yeah, that's a lot of what he did therein. Yeah, Hal Smith had a very interesting career there. Anyways, so let's see, we're up to 37 minutes now. Yes, I'll start doing. Let's see. I guess I'll start doing the wrestling wrap up, as it were. So on last night's Raw, of course, last night's Monday Night Raw. Yeah, Drew McIntyre defeats Sami Zayn in the opening match of the night. Sami Zayn, they said, proving to be a good foil for Drew McIntyre. Nia Jax defeated Shayna Baszler in a best 2 out of 3 falls match in this endless rivalry between DIY and Imperium. DIY took care of Imperium 2 falls to 1. In a women's match, Katana, Kaden Carter and Katana Chance defeated Natalia and Tegan Knox. The Creed brothers, as they continue to build, towards their tag team title match against Finn Balor and Damian Priest. Took on 2 other members of the Judgment Day and defeated them, and Dominic Mysterio and JD McDonough, as the Chance had set these 2 out to serve as a test for the Creed brothers. And in the main event of the evening, Seth Rollins retained the WWE World Heavyweight title over Jey Uso. So, there we have that. So now, and AEW for tomorrow night's AEW for Dynamite. They have planned for tomorrow. I know that they do have quite a bit planned for tomorrow night's Dynamite, as of course 3 more matches in the Gold League for the Continental Classic will be taking place, as well as Christian will be defending the TNT title against Adam Copeland. I don't remember. He's got to be called Adam Copeland now. So, yeah, Tony Storm defends the AW Women's World Title against Sky Blue. The 3 matches in the Continental Classic Gold League. Jay Lethal taking on Jay White, Mark Briscoe taking on Swerve Strickland, and John Moxley taking on Roosh. And then also, as we mentioned, of course, Christian Cage defends the TNT title against Adam Copeland. And then MJF and Samoa Joe will be taking on 2 mystery opponents representing the quote-unquote devil. The devil who's been kind of attacking a lot of MJF's friends or people who decided to align themselves with MJF. So that's what you have to look forward to tomorrow night there. So with that, well, it's now today being Tuesday. Today being Tuesday, December 5th, 2023. Let's take a look back at this day in Neat's history. History! So, take a look back at this day in Neat's history. First off, we're going to head... hey, JR. Kind of late tonight. Hail, Zenu and Zena. Hi, Woody and Mike. Hey. With that, let's go ahead and... So first off, on this date 30 years ago today, in 1993 here, in 1993, Brian Christopher would defeat Buddy Landel for the USWA title in Memphis on this date 30 years ago today. This date 30 years ago today, Brian Christopher would defeat Buddy Landel for the USWA title in Memphis on this date 30 years ago today. And 1993 is just so nice that we're going to hit it twice. As also on this date in 1993, Hanna-Barbara's Holly Rockabye Baby premiered on ABC on this day. In 1993. It's a sequel to I Yabba Dabba Doo, and followed by a Flintstone Christmas, which aired 2 weeks. Some people say that this is hard. This one is kind of hard to find because it's a little more adult. Because in this particular one, I believe it was one where you saw Pebbles as an adult now. After Pebbles and Bam Bam get married and move to Holly Rock and I Yabba Dabba Doo, Fred and Barney are both working overtime for Mr. Slate, and Wilma and Betty now own a food delivery service called Bon Appetit. But much to Fred's disgust, Wilma is not there to cook for him, so he cooks his own TV dinners as well as Barney's. So basically, this is a follow-up to the... So now in Hollywood, Holly Rockabye Baby, of course, is where adult versions of Pebbles and Bam Bam are now about to have a baby, as Pebbles, of course, is pregnant. So there we go with that. So that happened 30 years. And 1993 is just so nice that we're not just going to hit it twice, but we're going to hit it thrice. As also on this date, 30 years ago date in 1993, Toei Animation Sailor R the movie premiered on this date back 30 years ago today. So this was the movie for the Sailor R portion of the Sailor Moon R portion of the Sailor Moon franchise. So on this date 30 years ago today, Sailor Moon R, the movie, premiered in Japanese theaters on this date 30 years ago today. And finally, on this date in 2018. This date in 2018. On this date in 2018, um, the first issue of Die from Image Comics went on sale on this date back in 2018. The cover price was $3.99, 36 pages. The story was The Party, written by Kieran Gillen, with Stephanie Hans doing the art, lettering by Clayton Cowles. So the first issue of Die from Image Comics went on sale on this date 5 years ago in 2018. So with that, I thank everybody for being here tonight. I hope everybody enjoyed the show on this look back at the voice acting career of Hal Smith. Of course, since I do keep it up, if you missed any portion of it, would like to go back and see any portion of it, you can always do that. We'll be back here, of course, tomorrow with more niche news, as well as don't forget this Friday we'll be doing our weekly look back in comics history. We'll be continuing our look back to January 1940. Where we'll be looking at books that went on sale from Marvel Comics at that point. So with that, I thank everybody for being here. I hope everybody enjoyed the show, and I will see you all tomorrow.